All right, ladies and gentlemen, OpenAI, Google, Gemini, and Anthropic, as well as Perplexity is down. All of the entire systems are down, but there is a workaround that I can get you started so that you can continue working in case something like this happens ever again. As we know right now, the systems are currently down, and when I go to ChatGPT, it says it's at capacity, and you can't even use this to do any type of work. I have Perplexity up, but then it's right now it says we'll be back online. So what we're going to do today is just get you started so you can basically start using any model that you can right now, and it'll basically just be what sort of is like a replacement for ChatGPT, and it's called Open Web UI. So the GitHub link is here, and let me see if I can post this since we're doing a live stream. I'm just going to post this in the comments, and you should be able to click the link. I'm currently live right now on Twitch, YouTube, and also on X. So thank you for joining me. And right now what we're going to basically do is I'm going to show you how to get up and running with this right now. Feel free to drop any comments, and this is just totally an interactive stream. But you can see it's going to basically look like this. We're going to ask it any questions. All this can run without connecting to the internet, which is awesome. And I can also at the very end, I'm going to also show you how to use this without actually logging into ChatGPT, and you'll be able to also use those models as well when those models come back online. So to get started, basically what we need to do is go to that website, which basically says, it's the GitHub website called Open Web UI, and I posted that in the comments. You may be able to see that. I'm going to see if I can get this going. Let me see if I can replace this text here that says my name to the link here, so they could actually be useful for y'all. So yeah, there you go. At the bottom there, I have the link description below. So we're going to do that. We're also going to use this thing called Ollama, and this is going to allow us to pull the models down onto our computer so that we can start using them. There are a number of models, and I'll tell you a couple of them that are really good so far that I've been able to use, and it's called Llama 3. And Llama 3 is from Meta, and they actually have the 8 billion and 70 billion parameters. So we'll go into that in a little bit of detail. So the first thing that we'll need to do is just go ahead and get this project up and running. In order to get the Open Web UI up, we actually need a thing called Docker. So the Docker, I think, is going to be the fastest way that we need to get started here. And so go to docker.com, docker.com. And then from there, you basically would just download the Docker product that you would need. So Docker product desktop, Docker desktop. And then from here, for me, since I have the M1 chip, it's going to be the easiest for me to just download that Apple M1 chip. Once you get it installed, you'll basically see like a little container thing floating up at the top left corner there. So let me see if I can go to dashboard. When it pulls up the dashboard, it'll look something like this. And then that's how you know basically that we're ready to go. You won't have any images or anything on there loaded. So that'll pretty much tell us to go. And the thing that we're going to go ahead and do is that we're also going to go ahead and install Ollama. So if you just head over to ollama.com, let me go ahead and replace that URL here. Actually, let me go ahead and see if I could duplicate this. It'd be so easier. Okay, great. Dropping all kinds of URL links here. So edit text. I'm going to go to ollama.com and then change the UI. We should Mobeta, I think. Done? Maybe? Edit text. Oh, I think that's what's going on. My text color needs to change to this. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right. So ollama.com is what we're going to use here to download this. And yeah, we got that going there. And once you hit download and install it, you should see a picture of like this little cute llama that's in your desktop area. Let me go ahead and see if I can pull up that screenshot for you so you can see it. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can pull that up. I don't think the screenshot came across, but let's see here. Well, I'm having some trouble with my screenshots loading. Well, it's not loading right now. Oh, well. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get that loaded. And once that's loaded, if you go ahead and go to your terminal, and open that up, you're basically going to have this thing called here. And if you type in OLLAMA and then hit enter, it's just going to give you some output like this. Let me go ahead and make this bigger so that you can see it. So with this type of output, that's how you know that Ollama is correctly installed, and it'll be ready to pull the next type of commands that we want. So that's a good first step there. So Ollama is installed, and then we have GitHub installed. And then the next step that we're going to go ahead and do is if Ollama is on your computer, run this command. So we're just going to copy this command from the github.com/openwebui thing here. And this is what this is here. So we just scroll down to this section right here where it says how to install quick start with Docker. And then if Ollama is on your computer, and this is like the first one that's here. So go ahead and copy that. We're going to go ahead and go to our terminal here, and I'm going to hit Command K, which would clear out our terminal window and just let us focus on this. And then from here, we're just going to go ahead and hit paste. As you can see, the command is here, is ready to run, and I'm just going to go ahead and push enter. And hopefully my computer doesn't break. It won't, but I'm just saying that for dramatic effect, of course. And if you're right now listening on live, feel free to just drop any comments. I'm going to go ahead and feature them and just slide you right in, just like so below here, like that. So and anyone who's trying, and if you're also on Twitch, I'm going to slide you right in as well there. And yeah, so while we're waiting for that to basically pull down, so what it's basically doing right now, which is really cool about Docker, it's just pulling all this code for us, and we don't have to do all these multi-step like, git pull, git whatever. You literally just have to do it from Docker, and it's like a self-contained container, which would run everything for you. If there is a trick to do this on Windows, and I'm not yet that familiar with it because I'm right now using a Mac. Most people don't know this, but I used to work at Apple for 12 years. And before that, my secret was that I was actually a big PC guy. I was really into PCs and I was really into gaming. And that's basically what I did for a long time until I started to learn the Apple ecosystem. And I fell completely in love with the operating system and really didn't look back since. I actually used to be I turned into like a Windows hater of all the things, but now I really like both. After working on operating systems for a while, I got to understand how things actually work at the lowest levels, and I have an appreciation for both. I try not to knock anything. So Apple only, not for Windows. It does work for Windows if you actually install it through the desktop, like the Docker desktop and so forth. There are some other tricks that you may run into or some problems if you enable the Linux version of Windows or whatever your situation is. That it just depends. There's like a huge rabbit trees of the versions of Windows you're on and the various things, but this should sort of get you started. If not, Alan, just feel free to hit me up in the DMs on x.com. So x.com/RayFernando1337. Just feel free to send me a DM and I'll be more than happy to get back to you. And we'll figure it out. We can even just go on live and kind of figure it out. Cause I think the more that we help people, it's really important. Like this stuff I use every day, especially for coding. And if it's down, then, hey, it's sort of back up, but then, it could be down again in the next minute. So let's go ahead and continue here. So this is already, installing here, and let's just double check our progress. Great. So we now have used, as of so far, we've went to the Open Web UI. We have used Docker, and we've basically pulled the image by doing this command from the first command here that's listed on if Ollama is on your computer. And then now that that's on our computer, it should be running in our little container. So let me just go ahead and go to the dashboard now and pull this guy up. So this looks like it's currently running, which is awesome. So we should be able to just go to localhost:3000 by clicking this link, and it should just pull up our website. And there we go. We're already back started. So at the very beginning, what it's doing is it wants us to create an admin so that we can log into us. And this admin is not accessible to the rest of the world. It's only running on our local computer. So whatever you type in here, it's basically whatever you want. So I could just type in test@test.com, password 1234567 I don't know, 5678. You could type in whatever you want. Sign up. And then I could do test, create account. No, I'm good. So that's the admin UI that we'd use to log in, and it looks like we're already in. And so what we're going to go ahead and do here is say, okay, let's go. We're basically have to download the latest model that we want. So to do that, you can say select a model. Since I've already downloaded models before using Ollama, I'm going to walk you through to see if we can download one of the latest models that we want to download. And I think that one that I wanted to try out, if we go to models here on Ollama, besides this one, let's go to the newest models. The one I really wanted to try out was CodeStrol. This is a 22 billion parameter model. So to download this one, all we have to do is just type in CodeStrol, Ollama run CodeStrol. So code STRAL. Cool. So to do that, in this little interface, we have a couple of elements. This is, if we go to the bottom where it says test, we should be able to go to, can we hit, oh, whoops, this little drop down, CodeStrol latest 22 billion. And in the select model area at the very top, if we just type in CodeStrill, this is actually says pull CodeStrill from llama.com. We're just going to go ahead and select that. And so this is now pulling and downloading the actual CodeStrill model. So without doing anything, we didn't have to go through this multi-step thing. Now they basically have streamlined it for us so that we can do this right away. So just by typing the name of the model up here in the select model dropdown, it pulls up the thing and boom, it's already downloaded. And so now we can actually select that as a model. So CodeStrill, boom. So now we're using the latest, and we could say, what model are you? Question mark. Let me go ahead and kind of get rid of this guy here. So what it's happening right now is basically the model's being loaded into my memory, and it takes a little while for the computer to get going, but once it gets going, it's going to get going pretty good. So let me see if I can hit terminal, and then so I think it says top something, ASI top. Let me see if I can go ahead and get that going here. I'm going to see if I can show you what the computer is doing as far as when it's loading memory and doing stuff here. So I'm going to put this towards the side here. So right now I have 64 gigabytes of RAM, and it's currently just, going crazy because I'm streaming this and I'm also helping you out here. So we could just say, write me a game of Pong using Python. Let's just see how good this does. And so right now I could see the resources that are being used to generate this. So right now it's basically generating it in real time. It's actually not using my internet connection. It's using my local computer. The model is running locally on my machine. And we're using this interface called the Open Web UI. And Open Web UI looks just like ChatGPT, which is awesome. And we can not only run this model, but we can run other types of models. And the upside about this whole thing is the fact that there's no limitations. You can keep asking it. You can keep doing whatever. It's never going to get tired. You can run out of power, and you could just be, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a desert, and then just have this up and just keep asking it questions and doing different things. So this is basically how you would start running your own version of like a ChatGPT-like model on your local computer. And so it's not exactly fully fledged like ChatGPT. These are obviously much smaller, but I mean, you're already seeing how awesome this is. The other services are currently down, and if this can get you through a couple of pinches or getting you through some other things, I say, why not and stuff. So this is pretty cool. Like, look at this. This is amazing. Creating a Pong, it just wrote the game for the paddles and the ball and everything like that. That is awesome. So Python turtle, that is pretty cool. That is so awesome. And let's see. Yeah, 45 gigs of memory usage. So that's a really good question. So right now, actually, that brings me to another point. So I actually made a calculator called LLM-calc for my website. And this tool is actually going to help me figure out what size model I can run on my computer. So all I have to do is give it 64 gigs of memory for my computer. The estimated usage is around 2 gigabytes for the OS. And the context window we're probably working with is probably about 2,000 tokens, maybe even a little bit more than that. So if I have like an 8-bit model, quantization, I could run like a 60 billion parameter model. If I have it at like 16-bit, then I'll probably have like 30 billion parameters. And the model that we're running right now with CodeStrill is 22 billion. And let's see, it says the quantization is Q4, and it's currently a 13 gigabyte model. So it should, if we do Q4, which is this here. So with my current memory, I can run 121 billion parameters. But if you have like a 32 gigabyte RAM of your computer available on your Mac, you're going to still be able to run this model, which is nice. And if you have 16 gigabytes of RAM on your Mac, you can still run it even with this OS on the RAM usage at 25 billion parameters. So you're going to be definitely pushing against the limits. So 22 billion parameter model, I'd say that fits a lot of use cases, which is nice. I think what's also using up a lot of memory on my computer right now is the fact that I'm also doing a live stream to 3 different platforms. So that's going to X, YouTube, and also Twitch. And then we're running the models and then whatever other things that are using in the background. So that's possibly another different thing there. So yeah, just let me go ahead and drop that link there too. And yeah, if you like what's going on, definitely hit the like button. And if you haven't been to rayfernando.ai, I would highly suggest you check it out because I'm going to be dropping a lot more tutorials, and I'm really trying to help you with AI and give you some tech insights, some tutorials. I'm also going to be doing some giveaways because we have the Apple Developer Conference coming up, and I actually was digging through some of my old Apple swag. And so if you have any like Apple Watch stuff, I have some bands to give away. I'm going to also have some t-shirts to give away as well that have some Apple specific things. And yeah, so stay tuned. And if you have an Apple Vision Pro, I'm actually going to be giving away a headset. So definitely feel free to put your email. I won't spam you. I promise. I actually haven't sent an email probably for a couple weeks or more. And I really do want to stay in touch with you because, you know, there's a lot of different use cases here. And my goal is really just to help you with this AI stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other models. So the newest models that have also come out, I think we were talking about Llama 3. So let's go ahead and go to this, you know, it's localhost 3000, right? And have our little Codestral chat. And so let's go ahead and compare this to, say, write me a game in Pong using Python. So we can go ahead and hit a new window and like, let's go ahead and select a different model here. So the one I was working with was Llama 3. And so Llama 3 latest. I'm going to go ahead and send it this message. And so what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and load this model into memory. And you can kind of already see it working here. And basically the A&E is the Apple Neural Engine. It doesn't really use much of that because just the way it is, it's mostly CPU based. But here we are, Llama 3, and this is the 77 billion parameter model. So this is a much smaller model. And you can see this thing's just flying. And it's actually doing a different approach to write this app of Pong. And it's going to be, I think it's using Pygame and stuff. So cool. The calculator is going to be very useful. I'm still on 32 gigs of RAM on the PC. Was worried there for a second. Yeah, you're going to be totally good, you know, with this type of thing. So definitely check it out, llm-calc.rayfernando.ai for sure. Just check that out there. So yeah, wow, look at this. Yeah, this Pygame, I bet you this will run a lot better here. So simple implementation of Pygame Python library. Yo, this is crazy cool. I don't know. Do you, I guess we should probably load up an IDE and do this, right? Because why not? If you're hanging with me, this is what we do here. So let's just go ahead and see if I can load up an IDE. So let's see, I'm going to use, I like PyCharm, which is pretty cool. And let me go ahead and see if I can get it brought over into this environment. So let's see, I'm going to do a new project. I'm going to do it under Pygame test. And I'm going to create a new virtual environment using Brew. Cool. And then hit create. And so this should load up the stuff for me right here. Let's go. Can I make this bigger? Whoops. Okay, I want to make this font bigger so you can actually see it because it looks so tiny. I like tiny fonts, but I think for display purposes, it could be a little different. So new UI, system settings, font. Okay, so we're going to do size probably like 18 or something. No, 16. Yeah, okay, let's go. Okay, that's probably a lot better. So let's get this code and put it in. Copy code. Wait, if I hit run, what happens? Running? No way. Oh, it tries to run the code on my computer. And it's running it using a local version of Python that is in my /lib. And it's failing to run, obviously, because I don't have Pygame installed, I think, on this specific version of Python. So let's just go here. All right. So if I hit run, this is probably going to fail. It's going to say, hey, you don't have the stuff installed, right? Pygame. So if I just do to, in here, in my terminal, if I go to terminal, I could just go to Python packages, look up Pygame, go ahead and hit install. Sure, we'll install the latest. Why not? And so it's giving us this progress bar at the bottom of installing it. And so what's nice is basically it installs it in my IDE environment because I have it all set up already during that setup. And if we hit play, run main, moment of truth. Llama 3, can you put out? Yo, we have a game of... Just like that, right? Like offline. Yo, this is sick, actually. This is so cool. So, yeah, let me hit play again. This is so cool. Yo, okay. So the paddle, Oh my God, this game's too hard. Let's see. Oh, I see. The computer is not playing back. So yeah, basically the code works. And let's see, my friends here. So that's cool. Wow. So what's going on right now is basically when we play the game, what's happening is that it starts with one side, and the side that we're able to control is basically the right side. And on the left side, the computer isn't responding. So what we can do is just kind of do a little feedback loop saying, the game looks like it works. The problem is that the computer is not chasing the paddle and wanting to hit it back. I also need the paddles to be a bit bigger. Cool. So let's just see how it takes the code and improves it. So this is so amazing how it's able to do this. Are we stuck here? Let's see what's going on. I don't see. That's interesting. This looks kind of like a bug. And so what's going on with my setup here? Oh, okay. I think it's just freaking out because I'm just maxing out my CPU. Okay, cool. It did finish it. Yay. All right, so let's just see what it says. It says, I can modify the code to make the computer-controlled paddle chase the ball and try to hit it back, as well as increase the size of the paddles. Here's an updated version of the game. So it looks like paddle properties basically changed those. As far as how does it handle the computer paddle. So it gave it a class called computer paddle. What basically that means is just like we just defined what the computer is going to do now and how it's going to chase it. So if the ball is less than where it is, it tries to move up. And then if the ball is greater than to where the paddle is, it tries to move down. And so basically it's just going to move down. And I don't think the paddle speed. Yeah, here's the paddle speed defined by this. And here's the ball. So they basically have moved. Oh, the ball. This is how fast the ball moves. This is how fast the paddle moves. So it says window height divided by 2 minus paddle height. Okay. Or not modulo 2, not mod. Yeah. Cool. I think this looks pretty good, this change. So let's go ahead and take a look. So copy code. We're going to basically go back and just replace it. We're going to go ahead and... did I copy the code incorrectly, bro? Let's see. I think there's a bug here because it says game.loop. Yeah, it forgot the if main. Haha. Okay, so there's definitely already a bug, but let's see. Let me go ahead and put this back here. So of course it's not going to run because it's not going to have this here. Let me indent this, and then let me give this the 2 spaces here. Okay, run it. I don't think my game is running. Oh, here we go. Whoa. Yeah, I think there's a bug here. Okay. Run main. Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Let's see what it says here. Move up. Unresolved reference. I'm going to say review the code. Review the code and fix any bugs to make sure it can run without crashing. Or... just curious. So this is interesting. So this is a 7 billion parameter model. So 7 billion parameters. Basically what that means is like, if you have 16 gigs of RAM, and let's just take a look more at the model specs here. So we do Llama 3, and we do Llama 3 here. And actually it's an 8 billion parameter model, my bad. 8 billion parameters and running at the Q4 quantization. So yeah, running at Q4, you can basically, even with 8 gigs of RAM, you can run a 9.95 billion parameter model. So that's really sweet, actually. So you can run this exact model that wrote that code for us. This is Llama, and this Llama is from Meta, by the way, and it's completely open source, and that basically lets you do the stuff that we're doing here with Open Web UI. And so if we go back into our little simple Pong game, and there seems to be a bug, and I'm not really sure if it's really with my computer or what's going on. It probably is my computer because it's probably eating up tons of resources. I have all these models loaded. And then, yeah, I'm using up near 100% CPU on my, I have a 64 gigabyte M1 Max. So that's the highest tier M1 machine that we have. And I'm basically just, churning lots of stuff while streaming to 3 different platforms, on X, on Twitch, and also on YouTube. And we're just, I'm doing this for the gram. Yeah, doing it for y'all. So definitely appreciate it. Feel free to hit the likes and add any comments and so forth, because I think that pushes it out to more people. My goal here is really just to help you, show you how to get started with this AI stuff. And just to summarize how we started and how we got here a little bit is, all these systems are down when we were trying to use Perplexity, when using ChatGPT. It says that they'll be right back. And the problem is that if you are so dependent on these systems like the way I am, it's like, how do you continue working, or how do you continue using them? Because I feel like my IQ points have just dropped by 20 by not having these systems available. So a way to do that is basically use this thing called Ollama. And so that's going to ollama.com to download this thing to get us started. This is going to be our gateway to download those models so that they're available for us. And then the next thing we're going to use is this thing called Open Web UI from GitHub. So with Open Web UI, basically this is a user interface like ChatGPT that will use Docker to kind of contain all this code for us. So that all we do is just run this one command that is here, which says if Ollama is installed on your computer. We put that into our terminal, and then boom, like we have these models. And to get a model, you would just basically type it in here to search the model. And if the model is not already on your computer, it's just going to go ahead and download that for us, as we saw there. And so to use it, you would just create a new chat, and then you select the model that you want to use. So here you can just do Llama 3, and then you can just do, whatever the latest is, and then just have it do whatever you want. So, hey, how's it going, Tarun? Thank you for joining. Yes, I have a little stream going on, and I definitely appreciate all the comments and all the people joining in, and for people kind of taking a look here. I'm just basically trying to show y'all how to get started and use some of this open AI stuff with, I feel like if any of these systems are down, it's a big hindrance, and while you can do work, why suffer is what I say when you have these really great, powerful models. And to me, it gets me looking back into this, how do I use these types of things? And so now that we're basically up and running, what we ended up doing was like, okay, write me a simple game of Pong, and I'm just kind of testing out the model, and then just going back and forth to review it, all without basically an internet connection that it's able to do that. So the latest instructions, I told it to review the code and give me the updated code with bug fixes. That's kind of how we go, and we're able to sort of iterate here. So if I go and undo what I did last time and rerun the code, I should be able to run the old game, I think. Let's see. This is the previous code that I had running here. So this is the code that I ran. Yeah, this is the game of Pong. So that's pretty awesome. And so as an added feature, there is a way to actually run this whole thing using OpenAI's platform or the API. So you may have heard this before, but there is a way to use like the interface, which is like ChatGPT, without having to go log into ChatGPT. And this is what AI developers are using to build their code and software. So you can feel like you can get a little bit onto their level and just kind of understand what's happening there. So there are these things that they have here. I think it's called models. And there was a place here that allow you to put let's see, personalization, chats, account, API keys. Okay. So in here, you can create a new secret key. I'll have to look it up, because there was a way previously that will allow you to add an API key from OpenAI. and let them use, so OpenAI. Oh, here we go. This is what it is. Yes. So in order for us to use this OpenAI endpoint, what we can do is actually add our API key right here and then select OpenAI as a model. So we can just say, let's go ahead and create a new chat. And we could just say OpenAI. No. Okay. Maybe not. Let's just put in like a really like a funky key just to see if it does anything. So verify connection. Let me add. Okay. Save. Okay. So I think I should be able to select it. Let's see. Let me refresh this. OpenAI. Well, I don't think that did anything there. Let me go ahead. I'll have to play around with this offline and then get you an update on that, because there is a way. This UI has changed, so I want to figure out what they have changed and how we can do that. So trouble accessing Ollama. Let me just say this here. OpenAI API. So including Ollama and OpenAI's compatible APIs. It says okay. Image generation. Yeah, there should be a way of giving it a key. So let's go ahead and look at the documentation, because there used to be an endpoint here that used to be able to hit and get at that, but I'm not seeing that right now, or it's not really obvious to me. But that'll be. I think maybe I'll make a separate video for that. So yeah, I mean, this is how you can get started running your models, Ollama. And that way you don't have to feel like you're pretty much, down on the system. I also wanted to give you a heads up also on something really cool I made called Truth Torch. And so truthtorch.ai, what this is basically an app that I use to analyze truth. And with this, basically what you can do is take any post like you see from the internet and then kind of run it through something and see like how truthful it is. So, and the way it basically does this analysis is that, not now. Okay. What I do is I'm going to say Truth Torch samples. So it gets the text as we see here, and then it's going to output something like this and tell you what the logical fallacies are, and then like also tell you other things that people are saying. And basically, this is part of a little bit of my plan right now. There's a wearable called Friend. And I have a little video about it on YouTube where I met the founder. And what you can do now is develop plugins for this thing. And this little pendant is something you can wear while you're out and about and having conversation. And so what I have done as a first step is I have basically made my app Truth Torch to analyze like words and things and tell you, what's the analysis? Is it like, what's the tone? Is it cautionary? Sometimes the way that people speak can make you sound so convincing, but they'll be using fear, or they'll be using various things to try to really get in your mind to make you believe something is true when it's actually maybe not, or maybe they're trying to scam you, or you really just don't know. And so that's a little bit of the power when you start combining these things. So I've just found out I can make a plugin for this wearable called Friend. And that plugin means that my code can run on his little device and start analyzing and listening to people when they speak to me. So imagine if someone is lying to you and they're saying, hey, this pendant can tell you like, hey, this person is lying. And you'll never be like really fooled again. So if you ever go to like a car salesman and they make up all this stuff, you'll be able to do that. So right now you can actually play with my tool at truthtorch.ai for free. And so once you sign in, you can just get like a news article, for example, like something from the, that's written from like this Techno Optimist Manifesto. And if you haven't seen this, this is written by Andreessen Horowitz, Mark Andreessen Horowitz, who is, the longtime VC founder, and wrote this amazing manifesto just on his optimism for tech and kind of where it's going. And so it launches into all kinds of stuff here. And you could just basically just copy the text like we're going to do right now. Just go ahead and copy this whole thing. Like that's a lot of text to read. But if you want to kind of know what you're getting into, I'd say like this is probably the best way to do it. So let me just go ahead and delete that and just paste it all here. So that's all the text from the article. We're going to go ahead and run through the analysis. And so what I've done is my app is basically going through, doing an analysis, gives you a quick summary of what you're going to get into, but also breaks it down in terms of like what the emotional appeals are, any logical fallacies, what reasoning they're using to make their arguments, any cognitive biases and stuff, as well as any personal feelings and unsupported claims and stuff. And then also kind of gives you a little bit of conclusion at the end as far as like, hey, you should probably watch out what you're reading or something like that. I mean, let's just take a look at the conclusion. It says it prevents a compelling and passionate argument for techno optimism, but the analysis basically reveals several logical fallacies and cognitive biases and unsupported claims that weaken the overall argument. It's obviously clear that the personal feelings and the admiration for technologists and disdain for opposing views significantly influence the narrative. So while the manifesto is inspiring and thought-provoking, a more balanced and evidence-based approach would strengthen its credibility and persuasiveness. So for me, using something like this, imagine if you're speaking to somebody and they just kind of launch into a speech, right, about some type of thing, and it almost feels like they're doing like a religious speech in some ways. Because I feel like text can get that way, or when you're talking to people in real life, they're not going to be very thoughtful in articles. They're just going to launch into I said X and XYZ. And depending on how they frame it, it can make it sound like it's a little bit more like one-sided or not, or I don't know. For me, a lot of times I have a lot of trouble. I get that gut feeling where like, this sounds like nonsense, but I don't know why. I can't really put my finger at it. So what I'm really optimistic about the Friend Wearable is the fact that it can take all this text down and break it down to you in like this type of fashion. Tell you like, yeah, the reason why you kind of felt that way was probably because they were using a lot of like emotional appeals, like to fear and then like to pride. And they're also kind of creating this straw man argument. And like, what's a straw man argument? I don't even know what that means. But basically, it can misrepresent an opposing view and make them easier to attack. And like, what's really interesting is that you may want to use this around your enemies, quote unquote, because you'll actually reveal their tactics that they're using to try to like control the conversation or to spin it in their way. And something like this is the first step of many things that can come in the AI future world. And I was really only able to build this because of what I started doing in my journey was basically prompting. You talk very similar to the Roaring Kitty. Ah, that's funny. I just recently started following him online. After this past week or so, he just started posting about this various things. But yeah, that's cool. Thank you, Tyrone. I really appreciate that. I think it's really interesting that somebody really believes in something and then they want to put their thesis out there to the world, and they're doing their thing, and it just was able to capitalize on that. I think that's cool, and here I am. I'm really just building this tool to help you and help other people see, like through these types of things. I feel like, to me, this is where I feel like I get my secret like cheat code of IQ boost, because I don't think like this normally. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I dropped out of school. I went to school and I failed English like 7 times actually. And I couldn't get past like the basic entry level college, like English. While I was able to do all this other engineering stuff. And I was able to even work for Apple as an engineer for 12 years. I worked on some really cool stuff and worked on like one of my biggest accomplishments was like working on together with like a large team of people on the software update system, which is incredibly complex, that stretches deep down into the lowest levels of hardware, firmware, like low level integration up into these higher level systems where there's like today, I mean, as a result of all the stuff that I worked on and a lot of teams have worked on, I mean, billions of devices have updated and still update reliably without any cable connection. And I mean, it's incredible. And I think as I've been learning things, I want to share them back to you and to the world, and make these little tools to make our lives better. So if you're all about that, definitely I'd say, check out rayfernando.ai. Go on there and just drop your email. I'd love to, have you together on my little tribe and, get you going along as well. And I'm also on X as well under the Ray Fernando 1337. So definitely feel free to follow me there. And I'll be definitely doing some more live streams. And I think I also want to do a live stream on prompting, because I feel like prompting is the gateway drug to everything here. Where I see AI going is prompting is probably the most important thing for what we're going to be able to leverage for these language models to do our jobs. The way that I'm seeing the math play out is that these language models are kind of hitting a flat curve right now, and they're not going to really be able to accelerate up for quite some time. And what we have to do between now and then to fill in that gap, I'd say about a decade or so, is to learn how to use these language models to solve very specific business problems or any problems that you have in your life. And so if you tackle a problem like the way I'm tackling this, then you can start making your life that much better. I mean, for me, this has already made my life a lot better to understand language. And I don't really know language, right? So I'm using the language model to have this communication back with me and this little back and forth stuff. And you'll actually be surprised the way that this all works is literally just one prompt that is fed in, and that's it. That's all you do. Like literally just give it a prompt. Like you give it text, and my one prompt outputs all of this consistently every time. It's mind blowing. But yes, definitely stay tuned. I'm going to have some more lessons like this because I think this is really important for you to get started if you're into this AI stuff, if you're into prompting. And I'm basically going from starting out. I no longer work at Apple. I'm now currently on my own. So I'm discovering this stuff, and join me on my journey as I start basically from the very beginnings to going to like starting my first product basically. I don't really know what my product really is, and I'm just putting things out there in the world that are just going to be valuable for me. And as I learn and I solve different problems, I'll just keep scaling and stacking my skills. And so where I'm trying to learn right now is like how to, I've basically been able to learn Python and to launch, some basic prototypes. And then what I've been able to learn very recently is Next.js 14, and then apply that to some existing templates. So nextjs.org. And this is a really awesome web framework powered by Vercel. And what's nice about Vercel is basically that they have these templates and stuff that you can use. And these templates already have AI stuff built into them that you can already start making your own apps with. And just like that, you can already have an app that's running, that's doing something. So just with this like Pinecone Vercel AI starter kit, you can basically make a clone of something that chats with your PDFs, which is so cool, right? And like just like that, I was able to use, I think it's like chat. So I'll actually show you the chatbot I use. I think it's very similar to this one. So this is very similar to the chatbot that I was able to use. And so this chatbot that they have here, see how similar it looks to my app? I just hooked mine up to some authentication and a database so they can save all of the queries, and then it lets you share them out. But you can say, what's the price of something right now? And this is the generative AI stuff that will generate here. And you can say, buy stock. And it'll basically, what stock would you like to purchase? Apple. See? It's pretty cool, right? So how can I technically contribute to your projects? Yeah, Tarun, just hit me up on the DMs. I have a GitHub as well at RayFernando1337. And right now, I think the only thing I have up right now is my LLM calc. This is the calculator I actually have up, and I open sourced it so that people can take this and like contribute and add more or like integrate it into their own versions of stuff. I just wanted to put this out there as well to, the biggest problem I had was trying to use these language models and understand how much RAM I needed for my systems so that people can actually start using them. So yeah, hit me up. I'm actually going to plan to open source Truth Torch once I get the plugin going and set up for the Friend AI wearable. So that's going to be like my next, like between now and the next week, I'm going to start hacking on that, and I might just go live on the weekend and show you kind of where I'm at so far. And I also want to have some more live streams just focusing on prompting to help you get some of these prompt skills up, because prompting is basically, it's probably like the most important skill. It's so easy to get started. And once I teach you a couple of basic techniques, you're going to be up and running pretty fast. And then it just turns into what problems do you want to solve? So I think that's really important. So yeah, feel free to sign up, rayfernando.ai, drop your email in there, and we'll stay in contact. If you haven't done so, definitely feel free to like and subscribe. Currently on YouTube as well. Let's see, at RayFernando1337. I'm going to go ahead and save this here so it shows the updates. So yeah, that link right there will get you started. If you're on X, definitely feel free to follow. Follow me definitely on YouTube. I'm going to be dropping more videos and stuff. And I think we're going to go ahead and just kind of get that going there. If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the stream. and kind of, I'll definitely, we'll do that here live. All you have to do is just type into the comments, boom, it just shows right up just like we do on X, and it's a totally interactive thing. If you haven't done so, definitely hit the like. If you're following, definitely get that subscribe button. But basically, we're able to go. What's really exciting is to be able to take something, that we're offline to then make it online with our little web UI, and get it going, and even do some experiments with running our tests. And also appreciate anyone who signs up and gives it a shot at Truth Torch. Go ahead and also feel free to hit me with any replies and stuff. I'm gonna see if anyone's done anything. Oh, okay, cool. People are already retweeting. Who's Truth? Haha. Yeah, this is awesome. So that's cool. Definitely appreciate that. I really appreciate that everyone's here to support each other, and that's all we have right now. And I really appreciate you, and I'll see you next time online. All right, kids, take it easy. Peace.